help from Marianne Levine and Heather Cagle's stimulus scrutiny. Last week, we wrote about how Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, RKY, was facing scrutiny for his decision to wait until July to start negotiating the next coronavirus bill. And now, with a deal essentially dead and President Donald Trump moving ahead with executive actions, Democratic leaders are facing questions of their own about their strategy. Advertisement Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer were unyielding in some of their demands during the negotiations and were trying to hold out for more. The GOP did offer some concessions, including $400 per week in unemployment insurance until December. But Democrats rejected some of those proposals, calling them woefully insufficient and betting that Republicans would eventually back down, but that's not what happened. Instead, White House officials involved in this round of negotiations, which, for the first time, included conservative hardliner Mark Meadows, essentially walked away from the negotiating table, at least for now, and told Trump to follow through with unilateral action. More on that later. Now, it's unclear if lawmakers will still press for a deal before August recess or just try to pick things back up again in September, though notably, Pelosi said she doesn't want to tie the relief talks to the looming government funding debate. There were no meetings over the weekend, none are on the books for today, and Dem leaders have not been in contact with Trump, despite what the president claimed last night. Meanwhile, the Senate is still technically in session, but most of the members are gone. During an appearance on Fox News Sunday, Pelosi was asked by Chris Wallace if she made a mistake in the deal-making process, but the speaker wasn't having it. Her response, "Clearly you don't have an understanding of what is happening here." And during a Democratic caucus call over the weekend, frontliner Rep. Tom Malinowski, DNJ, expressed concern that if they don't get a deal it will be a pox on both chambers of Congress, sources told Heather, which could be used against lawmakers in tough races. Democrats, however, say Republicans are the ones to blame and point out they offered to come down on the overall price tag of the bill by $1 trillion if the White House came up by $1 trillion, but the GOP rejected it. And Pelosi emphasized Sunday that we have to reach an agreement and stressed that there's room for compromise. Expect Dems to keep bashing the executive orders and call on Republicans to keep negotiating. Related reads, Pelosi is playing hardball on coronavirus relief. She thinks she'll win, Vianet's Emily Cochran and Nicholas Fandos, https://niti.ms/2pdwqcm, and Mark Meadows brings harder spending line to coronavirus talks. From Wall Street Journal's Siobhan Hughes, https://on.wsj.com/2cfdfk3, and speaking of Trump's executive actions, Democrats are slamming the orders as weak and unconstitutional. And there are also legitimate questions about whether the actions are effective or even accomplish what Trump says they do. For example, Trump said he was extending unemployment insurance at $400 per week, but his order would require states to match part of it and administer a new program to give the extra federal benefits. And Trump also said he was extending the federal moratorium on evictions, but his order just instructs agencies to study whether a moratorium on evictions is feasible. Some Republicans were also unhappy with Trump's unilateral moves. The statement from Senator Ben Sasse, Republican Nebraska, "The pen and phone theory of executive lawmaking is unconstitutional slop." President Obama did not have the power to unilaterally rewrite immigration law with DACA, and President Trump does not have the power to unilaterally rewrite the payroll tax law. More from Nolan McCaskill, https://polity.co/2f90ms. Related read, Trump relief plan faces hurdles, by Wall Street Journal's Sarah Cheney and Natalie Andrews, https://und.wsj.com/2fupft. President Donald Trump holed up one of the 4 executive orders that he signed that addresses the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic at his Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey, Saturday, August 8, 2020. Trump signed the executive orders and bypassed the nation's lawmakers as he claimed the authority to defer payroll taxes and replace an expired unemployment benefit with a lower amount after negotiations with Congress on a new coronavirus rescue package collapsed. AP photo /Susan Walsh. Susan Walsh AP photo. How do you solve a problem like Marjorie? When we uncovered racist Facebook videos from GOP congressional candidate Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican leaders raced to disavow her, calling her comments disgusting and saying there's no tolerance for them in the GOP. But in the 2 months that followed, Republicans have done little to stop her from winning a seat in the House, despite finally getting rid of Rep. Steve King, Republican Iowa, who also has a long history of controversial and racist remarks. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is staying neutral in Greene's runoff race and letting the primary process play out. In fact, Greene said she has spoken to McCarthy since the Politico story published. She claims they have a great relationship and that he told her his public rebuke was just a miscommunication. Meanwhile, there has been no major outside spending in the race. Representative Mark Walker, RNC, lobbied the conservative clubs for growth to get involved, which they considered doing, but they ultimately decided to sit out. That being said, there have been about a dozen Republicans, including House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, who have worked to boost Greene's opponent, neurosurgeon John Cowan. But GOP lawmakers, donors and strategists still fear that Greene could actually win her runoff race in Georgia on Tuesday, which would almost guarantee that she comes to Congress since it's a deeply conservative district. The story from your Huddle host and ally, https://polity.co/3eptco. Related read, a confluence of events has created a moment for a Georgia pastor to take a Senate seat away from warring Republicans. WAPO's Paul Kane, https://wapo.street/2xgfpn3. Happy Monday. Welcome to Huddle, the play-by-play guide to all things Capitol Hill, on this August 10th, where your host hopes your week goes more smoothly than the Nats ground crew trying to unroll the tarp at yesterday's game. Friday's most clicked, the AP's report on Congress urging the Postal Service to undo changes slowing mail was the big winner. Under pressure, Democrats feel like their public pressure campaign on the intelligence community is paying off, Andrew and Kyle explain. Congressional Democrats, stung by the Obama administration's soft-pedaled approach to Russian election interference in 2016, have a plan to prevent a repeat under President Donald Trump. Make as much noise as possible, early and often. For weeks, top Democratic lawmakers in the House and Senate have been blaring warnings and demanding briefings and public disclosures from the intelligence community, shrugging off Republican charges that they're politicizing intelligence. And Democrats can now point to evidence that their pressure campaign might be working. On Friday, the Trump administration's counterintelligence chief publicly confirmed that Russia is attempting to harm Joe Biden's candidacy in 2020. The official, William Evanina, even singled out a pro-Russia Ukrainian, Andrei Darkak, as a key participant in the Kremlin's new effort. The statement, which also indicated that Iran and China prefer a Trump loss in November, was hailed by Democrats as vindication of their strategy to lean on the administration for additional disclosures to help educate the public. More, https://polity.go/30 is easy. Related read, Ron Johnson subpoenas documents from FBI Director, via Betsy Woodruff Swan, https://polity.go/2sq6rm. Battle for the Senate, WAPO's Lisa Rain has a dispatch from Montana on the state's Senate race. Republican Steve Daines, the freshman senator in this sparsely populated state of hunters, fishers and big government skeptics where President Trump crushed Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, was supposed to coast to re-election in November. Democrats were mounting a modest field to oppose him. Daines, if not defined by legislative wins in Washington, had forged a close alliance with the president. He's a reliable conservative in a state that has voted Republican for president every year since 1968, except for Bill Clinton 28 years ago. Then came Steve Bullock and the coronavirus pandemic. And with less than 3 months until Election Day, the face-off between the two-term Democratic governor from Helena and the wealthy former software executive from Bozeman has transformed into a margin of error race that has helped put Senate control within reach for Democrats. It will measure whether Montana's proud history of political individualism is sustainable in an era when voters are more polarized than ever. More, https://wapo.street/3kxecro. Related read, Tom Tillis built the fire, now it could consume him, by The Intercept's Paul Blest, https://bit.ly/2dkfw0x. The GOP's new bogeyman. After a brief period of playing nice with the Black Lives Matter movement, Republicans are now trying to villainize it in the run-up to November. The dispatch from Laura Barron Lopez and Alex Thompson, facing possible electoral calamity, Republicans are now turning to a familiar playbook, stoking fear by trying to redefine the Black Lives Matter movement as a radical leftist mob looking to sabotage the white, suburban lifestyle. Republicans are using 2 lines of attack: the Trump administration, candidates in safe red seats, and right-wing social media channels seek to label the entire movement Marxist and anti-family as they try to energize their conservative base. Republicans running in swing districts and states, meanwhile, are tying their Democratic opponents to activists' demands to defund police departments, while avoiding explicitly mentioning Black Lives Matter. Instead, Republicans running in competitive general election races have focused recent ads on more abstract targets like left-wing radicals and the liberal mob. More, https://polity.go/30iso. Related read, John Roberts emerges as a 2020 campaign issue, from the Washington Examiner's W. James Antill 3, https://washx.am/3ig. In IT to Win IT, Win Red, the GOP's answer to Act Blue, brought in a whopping $164 million last month. Welcome news for the GOP as it fights to keep the Senate and not sink further into the House minority. More from The Hill's Julia Manchester. Republican grassroots fundraising group Win Red raked in $164.3 million in the month of July, raising $15.7 million in one day alone, according to figures exclusively obtained by The Hill. The group received a total of 3.217 million donations, with the average donation given to the group coming in at $51. The latest fundraising figures mark a major uptick for the group over the past year. Win Red raised just $31 million in July of 2019. The group raised a total of $275 million in the second quarter. The left-leaning group raked in $710 million during the second quarter from 5.7 million individuals donors. The development comes as fundraising heats up between Republicans and Democrats ahead of the general election in November. More, https://bit.ly/2x05. Related, 2020 election ratings update, House more solid for Democrats. parole pools Nathan L. Gonzalez, https://bit.ly/3adhi9. Weekend wedding, Representative Abby Finkenauer, Democrat Iowa, and Daniel Waster, the new Iowa political director for Joe Biden's campaign, got married Saturday at their home. A small group of family members and close friends attended the socially distanced, outdoor ceremony, with many more joining via livestream. Pic, via Roots Plus Wilds Photography Transitions. Scott Luginbill is now Director of Congressional Affairs for the Trump re-elect. He previously worked on congressional affairs for the GOP convention, and is a Mark Walker alum. Chadwick Carlo is now Campaign Policy Coordinator for the Trump re-elect. He previously was Chief of Staff for Representative Bradley Byrne, Republican Alabama. Subhan Chima is now Director of Coalition Comms and North Carolina Press Secretary for the Biden campaign. He previously was Comms Director/Advisor for Representative Pramila Jayapal, Democrat Washington, and is a Richard Blumenthal and Obama HHS alum. Today in Congress the Senate meets at 3 p.m. The House is not in session. Around the Hill Crickets. Trivia Fridays winner, John Pitney was the first person to correctly guess that JFK's presidential campaign was the first to rely on computer-driven simulations and big data analytics to inform policy positions and campaign strategy. Today's question, from John: California Governor Jerry Brown got married in 2005. Which well-known California politician officiated at the ceremony? The first person to correctly guess gets a mention in the next edition of Huddle. Send your best guess to email protected. Get Huddle emailed to your phone each morning. View archives. Let's block ads. Why?
Show your love for him. Click the link in description. Thanks for watching.